was awarded an Erasmus Mundus Scholarship in 2021. There were over 200 courses, and then it is fully funded.
Okay. Fully funded, what does it mean?
Every month, your monthly stipend comes in, and then you are given your travel allowance.
You studied in 5 countries, right?
Yes.
So which means your program was a 2.5-year program. I thought in Europe you need only one visa.
That is, so let me explain. And then they would have the Erasmus Mundus programs. There are 2 different programs. So if you don't take care, you are going to apply to the wrong portal. The ending of September, I was out of Ghana.
So you did one interview.
Yeah, you do one interview.
Yeah, everybody needs special friend, right? So that lady, why was she so interested in your progress? Why was you mentioned SOP? What are the other application materials? Did you submit recommendation letters, resume, those things?
Yeah, so with Erasmus Mundus programs, it also varies. For some programs, you need, I can say sometimes it doesn't taste good, but I cooked it, I eat it.
The scholarship covers everything, right? But then are you still allowed to work?
And then our first job was in a hotel where we're laying beds. And the crazy thing is, and then we started working into the restaurants, and then we started working as dishwashers.
If I come to you, help me, what are the steps that I need to take?
But the thing with Erasmus is that no one pays any application.
Alright, before we start, consider subscribing to the channel. This helps me so much. Thank you. So I have interviewed Evelyn, who got DAAD scholarship. I've interviewed Abdul, who got Mastercard scholarship. I've interviewed Ray, who got the Commonwealth Shared scholarship. But then there's one scholarship that I was looking, forward to interviewing somebody, about, and that is the Erasmus Mundus. So you being here makes me very excited. I want to know what the scholarship is about. What is the Erasmus Mundus scholarship about?
Okay. So Erasmus Mundus, should I introduce myself or I just go on?
Yeah, you can introduce yourself. Most of the time, I just don't introduce guests, but you can introduce yourself. It's fine.
Okay, so my name is Abraham, and I was awarded an Erasmus Mundus Scholarship in 2021. The Erasmus Mundus Scholarship is a scholarship that is funded by the European Union. And how it operates is that schools in Europe come together. So at first, UK was part of the European Union. So we have UK schools that are still part of the program. So at least 3 schools come together. And once they come together, they form a consortium of universities, and then they bring up a course or a model, and then they pitch it to the European Union. Once they pitch it to the European Union decides whether they are going to fund the program or not. Once they decide to fund the program, it is added to the Erasmus Mundus catalog. And once it is on the Erasmus Mundus catalog, you can apply from anywhere, whether you are in Europe, outside Europe, anywhere you come from. Everybody stands an equal and fair chance of getting in, no bureaucracies. However, they select only 21 students.
21 students every year?
Every year for fully funded scholarships.
From all over the world?
Yes, from all over the world. However, they have quotas for different parts. So maybe if this year they are taking 5 from Africa, they are taking 5 from Europe, 5 from South America. So there's equal representation from all the continents. So for instance, even if the top 7 candidates for the entire program are from Africa, they are going to take only 5. And then the next ones are going to come from the other parts of the world. And everything is on the Erasmus Mundus catalog. If you just Google Erasmus Mundus catalog, you are going to see the courses. The last I checked, there were over 200 courses. And because it's a consortium of universities that come together, you are not going to get, for instance, I studied social work. You are not just going to get a master's in social work. You are going to get, my course was titled Advanced Development in Social Work. The other course is titled Social Work with Children and Families. They are very, very specific, because it's a consortium of schools coming together, and they have to be as specific as possible to ensure that they get the funding from the European Union. And before I forget, Erasmus Mundus is for only masters. So once you have your undergraduate degree, before you can apply for Erasmus Mundus, it's a master's degree, and then it is fully funded.
Okay. Fully funded, what does it mean?
Yeah, okay. So when I
What
say
does it
fully
cover?
funded, it quite differs
Yeah.
from the US space
US.
where you have
Yeah.
graduate assistantships and then teaching and then research assistantship. So when
Yeah.
I say fully funded, it means you do not have to teach anyone, you do not have to do any research for anyone. Every month, your monthly stipend comes in, and then you are given your travel allowance. So with the travel allowance, before you leave your home country, they can't give it to you because you need a European bank account. So what you have to do is that once you obtain the scholarship, you have to find your own funding to come to Europe. But once you are in Europe, you are going to get your first travel allowance, which is given to you. It depends on the proximity of your country to the first institution that you would be visiting. So usually if you are coming from Africa, you are going to get 4,000 euros for your travel allowance for the first year. And then for the
Okay.
second year, you are going to get 3,000 euros for your travel allowance.
Mm.
This is exclusive of your monthly stipend. With the monthly stipend, you are going to get 1,000 euros every month.
Okay. So you travel from, let's say, Ghana to Europe, and then they give you the allowance, the travel allowance. Why?
Yes, for
What?
the
What is the
first year.
second? What is the
So
second
for
allowance
the
for?
reason why they give you that lump sum is because during the course of your program, since it's a consortium of universities, you don't study in one university.
Mm.
So
Okay.
the maximum you spend in a university is just one semester, so approximately 3 to 4 months. So for instance, with my program, it involved 5 schools.
Wow.
So I moved from Ghana to the UK. So I spent just one semester in the UK. Once you are settling in, once you are done with your semester, you have to move and you have to take care of your visa to other countries. So I moved from the UK to the Denmark. So the travel allowance is supposed to sort out all those
Okay.
expenditure,
That's, yeah.
because once they give it to you, they're not going to give you any money again. So for that first
Yeah.
year, if you are moving 2 times or 3 times, your it includes all those expenditure. So you have to manage your finances very well, because if you overspend it, automatically you are kicking yourself out of the program.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they give you the travel allowance, and then they give you your monthly stipend. Your monthly stipend, that is where you pay your living expenses, so your rent, your groceries, and then the rest is up to
Mm.
you. Anywhere you want to go, it depends on how you want to manage your finances.
Mm.
That is what I mean when I say fully funded.
Mm. I see. You studied in 5 countries, right?
Yes.
So which means your program was a 2.5 year program.
No, it was 2 years. So, like I said, it was just, I think it was one of my program is one of the programs that had a lot of universities, but usually it's only, most programs have 3 universities coming together. So you do your
Mm.
first semester in the first university, move to the second university, move to the third university, and then for your third semester, then your fourth semester, it depends on where you get your supervisor, then you move back to any one of the 3 universities that you've already visited to. So once you are done with the program, you visit all the 3 universities. But with my program, because it was 5 universities, you some people didn't have the opportunity to visit other countries. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So the fact that you're moving from one country to another, did you get help from the scholarship secretariat or something? Is it that you do everything on your own, or they help you, they guide you with information, accommodation, like all of those things? They give you the money, but then do they actually help you as
Yeah.
well?
You know the thing about someone giving you funding,
Yeah.
it implies that you should do the rest yourself. Of course, someone can give you directions, but they have
Yeah.
never been in your shoes, and they can never explain how
Mm.
best the situation is until you get in. And you know,
Wow.
times are changing, seasons are changing. So even the recommendations that you're going to get from those who have preceded the program, it changes over time. So it's
Yeah.
it's it's like do it yourself project,
Wow.
navigating through the whole process, and visa
Ah.
rules are changing all the time, and they state it to you explicitly when you ask them. For instance, oh, you send an email, I do not understand this, I'm waiting for this, it's not coming through, and they tell you, unfortunately, they give you the information, like the general information that they have, and they tell you that unfortunately they cannot go into details because they can only share what others have shared with them. But
Mhm.
you being on
Yeah.
the ground have to understand the dynamics and then navigate it yourself to benefit
Wow.
from the, yeah, from the whole thing. It was crazy. See, on paper, It sounds very, very interesting. And then
Yeah,
the first year and the second year, your exuberance is going to ginger you. But then after a while, it dawns on you that what did I get myself into?
yeah. Which
Yes,
means
but
the
it
trips
is
are
worth
very tiring,
it is
right?
worth it because in the end
Mm.
it trains you and it makes you good at a lot of things to manage your time, to do things for yourself and manage your resources. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, based on the way you are describing it, it kind of feels like it's kind of feels good, right? The fact that you get to travel to several countries, like experience those countries, like I feel like it's nice. But then the way you also on the other side looks like it was very tiring for you, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. So
So,
for instance, once I
mm,
started the program, I used to I was even thinking of this example. At first on my WhatsApp status, I used to post everything a lot. The least views I would get would be like 100 views, 120 views. When I entered the
yeah,
program, I just stopped posting. There was no time because
mm,
you have to, and especially for social work, for my course, you needed to have practical experience. So
mm,
almost everybody in the class had practical experience, and with that, it means that with every model that we do, there are presentations where you have to link it with your practical experience that you already have, and it was time consuming. It
yeah.
was time consuming, so you never really have time to come online to post social. Now, when I post something on my status, I get just 20 views.
Mm. Wow,
Yeah, so
amazing.
like for that 2 year period, like you weren't doing anything. You know, when it comes to social media and stuff, it has to do with a
You
lot
have
of
to be active.
consistency.
Yeah, you have to be
Yeah,
active.
and navigating visa issues is a whole different ballgame. But the good thing is that if you are in Europe and you, for instance, when I applied for my residence permit in Denmark, it offered me the opportunity to visit other European countries, and that spared me from applying to for the visa in other European countries. But some people didn't get that opportunity, so almost every country that they visited, they had to apply for a residence permit or a visa. So yeah,
I thought in Europe you need only one visa.
that is. So let me explain. So, for instance, now the UK got out of the
Yeah,
European Union, right? And for
yeah.
my program, the first country that I had to visit was the UK.
Okay.
So I had to apply for a student visa in the UK, and that would take like forever. So we found like another way in UK. If you are going for a short-term study, you can apply for a standard visitors visa to study in the
Mm,
UK because it's not more than 6 months. So I had the
okay.
opportunity to use that one to apply to study in the UK. And then once that was done, I then applied for my Danish residence permit. And then because I omitted one information. So when the consortium of universities come together, one institution becomes the host institution. Okay, so that
Okay.
host institution makes sure that you are a student there for that period of 2 years.
Okay.
So my host institution was Aalborg University in Denmark. So officially, I am a student in Denmark. So when I was applying for my residence permit, they gave me for 2 years.
Okay.
For 2 years. So that afforded me the opportunity to visit other countries without any limitations. However, with other countries, for instance, I had a friend in Portugal. His first country was Portugal. So after applying for the Portuguese residence permit, he was given only 1 year.
Mm,
So after using that for 1 year, when he was going to Norway, he had to apply for another visa.
oh, okay.
And when he was coming back to Portugal, he had to apply for another visa again. And all this
Mm,
is going to come up from your installment, your travel allowance installment. Yes.
okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So about the host institution,
Yeah.
is it based on the program? Like the host country. In your case, it was Denmark, right?
Yeah.
Is it based on the program you went to study?
So how it works is because a consortium of schools come together, they apply for funding. For instance, if you apply for funding for this year, maybe they give you for a period of 5 years. So for
Okay.
that period of 5 years, within the universities, they choose one of them to be the host institution
For 5 years.
for 5 years. So within
Okay.
that period, that university is going to handle all correspondences. You do application through that school. Any question you have, you pass it through that school, and officially you are a student in that school. Once that application period is done and they apply to the European Union again, and then they receive another funding, they are going to choose another host institution to handle all those correspondences.
So which
Do you
means that
understand?
when 2021 students are selected in a year, they all go
Yeah.
to the host institution, right?
We
Or the
will go. It's going to depend on how the program is structured.
okay.
So, if, for instance, my program is structured in the sense that your first semester has to be in the UK at the University of Lincoln, your second semester has to be at Aalborg University in Denmark, and then your third semester has to be in the University of Lisbon. So, this way, you are going to all the three universities. However, with your fourth semester, it depends on where you get your supervisor. You could either go to the University of Warsaw in Poland or the University of Paris Nanterre in France. So
Mm.
we had some people who never went to Poland because they didn't study there.
The structure of the program.
Yes, it is
Okay.
the structure of the program. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And how many institutions are in the consortium? Like how many institutions come together?
It depends, but it depends. It depends. It depends. However, the list is three. So the minimum countries that you are going to visit are three countries.
Mm.
Yeah.
So three countries, but then different universities, right? Many universities.
Dif- yes,
Do you
different
know? Do you
universities
know?
in three countries.
Yeah. Do you know like how many universities in all? Like maybe on average or something.
It's a
From
lot.
it's a lot. Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. Because when
Mm.
you go to the Erasmus Mundus catalog, like it's a lot of schools in Europe.
Oh, okay.
Different.
Mm.
For
And
instance, even in
Erasmus.
Portugal alone, you can have like
Yeah.
over five, six different universities, all on the
Okay.
different programs.
I see. And the Erasmus Mundus, what are the? Is it the name of somebody?
I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think it's the name of someone. Yeah. I
Okay.
didn't I've
Okay.
not really looked into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were you doing before you applied for the scholarship?
Good question. So I studied social work at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
So after I was done, Ghana, no work. You have to struggle and hustle for
System
yourself. So
hot.
yeah, so for like a period of 1 year, I was not working, and during that time, that was when I was doing my music.
Oh,
I
you are a
was
musician?
yeah, I rap. I do
Oh
gospel rap,
wow.
urban gospel.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
so during that
Nice.
time, I maximized it because I couldn't just stay at home. So I was doing my music. I was blogging. I was blogging as well, and then I had like this interest in this media. So I actually went to media school to
Wow.
study for like a few months on radio and TV production. And then, funny enough, the day that I got a media job, I also got to work as a civil servant,
Oh, okay.
as a social development officer with the Department of Social Welfare based on
Mm,
my qualification. So I just had to take up the work as a social development officer because the media doesn't really pay like that. It's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
small is it
Popularity.
honorarium?
You just get
Yeah,
popular. That's
exactly.
all.
Exactly. So I worked as a social development officer for 3 years. And then during the course of the program, one of my friends who was already enrolled on an Erasmus Mundus Masters was like, but you, what are you doing in Ghana? You're a good student. What are you doing in Ghana? And I was
Yeah.
like, and the thing in Ghana is that, you see, once you are done with school, everybody lives your life for you. So it's like, it's a survival mentality. So once I was done with school, school was like out of school was like out of my mind. But once she said that, I was like, then it hit me because I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have to do something. Because I started working like late 2018 because the year was almost over. So
Mm,
when I was working for the first year in 2019, that was when she said it. And I was like, well, that's true. So then she was like, I should just search Erasmus Mundus catalog, and then I searched it and I was looking at it. So when you go to the search portal, it gives you different filters. You can filter it to your course and see the courses available. So she was on a program called Erasmus Mundus Social Work with Children and Families. And
mm,
then I went through the program and I was like, oh, this is a program, I've seen it. And she was like, do you have your documents? I was like, yeah, I have a passport, but it has expired. Okay, so renew it and let's look at the documents and see how best you can apply. So I renewed my passport and then I looked at the requirements. And for me, someone who, when you give me information, I need to verify it for myself because I
Yeah.
cannot say, do this for me, do this for me. I'm used to doing a lot of things on my own. So when she said that, I was like, I looked through it and then I saw all like the documents and I was like, okay, I need to get this, I need to get this. And then
Mm.
I just got all the documents and then I was like, okay, now it's time to apply. So I wrote the statement of purpose and then and because social work is very technical, there's a little bit of difference between the technicalities used in Ghana and then in Europe. For instance, in Ghana we say client, but in Europe they say service user. It has to do with
Mm.
some rights and responsibilities. So I gave
Oh,
my
okay.
essay to my friend and then she checked all those things for me and then sent it back to me. And then I went through the whole application process, did everything.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Charlie, I'm done. Oh. And she was like, yeah, that's good. So let's wait for the feedback. Unlike some people who I could have told her that, oh, can you do it for me? Take these documents and do it for me.
Yeah.
But because she saw that I was also very proactive, like she was willing to help. So
Nice.
after I went through the whole process and then COVID came. So when
Yeah.
COVID came, the correspondence was that they are postponing the intake to 2021.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So for the year 2020, they decided not to take students, but it differs from
Mm.
program to program. Over time I realized that some programs still took students for the COVID year.
Mm.
So
I see.
when COVID came, they postponed the program. So the process the waiting process was a little bit long. And then after a while, I got a notification, and it was like, and they were like, you you're part of the top candidates. However, a lot of people applied, so you are on the waiting list, and
Oh.
you accept to be on the waiting list. And I was like, okay, I accept. And then my friend was like, most of the Ghanaians, during her time, 3 Ghanaians were on the program. And I think about 2 of them were on the waiting list. And then after like a month or so, they were called to enroll on the program. So she was like, oh, you're on the waiting list. That's good. They'll call you.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and then in my mind, I've just started working. I've started getting some small coins compared to what I had. So I was like, okay, whatever happens may happen. Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So I was on the waiting list, and I was just so sometimes I just check my email and then I forgo. And then within that same period, so now we are in 2020, and then and the COVID rules and everything have been lifted. Life is getting back to normal. And then within that same year, like around November, December, she sent me a flyer. And on that flyer, that was my course, the course I enrolled on. It was Erasmus Mundus Advanced Development in Social Work. She was like, oh, I saw this flyer. Can you check it out? So she sent it to me. She had no idea about that program. So she
Mm.
sent it to me, and then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, interesting. So I went to read about it, and I was like, oh no, I have this application. I shouldn't stress myself because I already have this one, and I'm waiting. But I'll be someone who opt out. So I just put it somewhere. But for some funny reason, she kept on insisting. Like in December, she insisted again. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'll check it. I'll check it. I forgot about it. And then the deadline was in January on January 15th. And then in January, she came back again. Have you done the application? And I was like, okay, let me just take it. So in one
Yeah.
day, I sat down. I had most of the documents already, but for my program, you had to, after the statement of purpose, you have to also write another essay that shows what social work means to you. So I sat down, I did that, I filled the form, I did everything. I gave it to her again. She went through it again for me and then sent it back to me. And then I did the application that same day, but then I forgot about it. And then because Erasmus Mundus programs are added to the course of programs in the school. So a school may have a social work program and then they would have the Erasmus Mundus programs. There are 2 different programs. So if you don't take care, you are going to apply to the wrong portal.
Mm. Wow.
Exactly. And because I was rushing and I wasn't really interested because I knew I had a waiting offer, which I thought basically implied that I would be called. I just submitted it and it went to the wrong portal. And
Oh.
so when I went to the wrong portal, after 2 days, I received your application has been rejected. I just saw it. I threw my phone somewhere. I didn't really care.
Mm.
Then like in about 2 days or so, I was sent another notification that your application went to the wrong portal, and then unfortunately, a lot of students did the same thing. So the application portal has been open for 24 hours to resubmit the application.
Wow.
And that
Hey.
was when it hit me. I was like, bro.
Sometimes, that's nice.
Yeah, I was like, God is talking to you or something. I went back, redid the application, and then I forgot about it because I knew I was waiting for an application for someone to drop out, which never came. And then one day I was there and I just got a notification. You've been shortlisted for an interview. I was like, bro, you need to take
Wow.
this serious. Yeah, so that was when I was like, no, nah, this is the time. Just take this serious and then
Yeah.
do
Do
what
or
you have to
die.
do. So
Mm.
I prepared for my interview. I did my interview. I received my funding. So I did the application in January, and by September, the ending of September, I was out of Ghana.
Mm. So you did one interview.
Yeah, you do one interview. Yeah.
Okay. Just to be clear, you first applied to a different program. When did you apply to that program?
So the
The
application
one that
portal opens in November.
okay. So the
Yeah,
first one was in November and you were put on wait list.
waiting list. Yeah,
And then you applied to the second one in January.
yes.
Okay.
Because because for the first program,
Yeah.
because it was a COVID year, they didn't take applicants, so they forwarded it. But for my program during the COVID year, they still took applicants.
Okay.
So during the next year, there was still space to accommodate new students again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that was what gave me the chance.
Yeah, everybody needs special friend, right? So that lady, why was
Yeah.
she so interested in your progress? Why
I
was she
I don't
interested
know.
in you
In
coming?
school, we were cool, but we were not close like we are now. And like once
Mm.
in a while, she sees my status, then we used to call ourselves Socrates, Social Work Students Association.
Okay.
So then she's like, hey, Socrates, genuine, and then we'll be laughing at ourselves. But then
Wow.
yeah, she like I call her sensei every time I call her sensei. She's in Portugal now, so I had the opportunity to study in Portugal. So I met her most of the time, and and now we are in very 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 good terms. Yeah,
Oh, that's nice. Did
yeah,
you consider other countries? Because when she introduced Erasmus Mundus to you, you said you did the application and all of that. Normally,
yeah.
somebody will look at other countries, maybe the US or something. Did you do that?
With the US, I can't remember. The thing is that study abroad was not well, hasn't wasn't really on my mind.
Yeah,
Because I was all about the survivor. But then maybe once in a while, when like you see that your friend has studied abroad, and then you keep asking questions because like it's intriguing.
yeah,
So I remember I had a friend who was studying at is this Eastern Illinois or Southern Illinois
yeah.
University. Also, I think
Mm.
he wrote GRE or something. I wasn't really too sure, but then he started posting online. I was like, hey Charlie, I know where you left free for here, and he was
Waga,
laughing. I was like,
waga.
so, and I was like, so like, how's the process like? Like, what did you do? Like I was intrigued
Yeah,
because I didn't have any idea about it. Because anytime I even search scholarships or something, I see IELTS and all those things, and then I'm
yeah.
like, and I'm not going to pay for all these things. I'm not going to pay for all those things. And a disclaimer: Erasmus Mundus applications are free. You don't have to pay a dime.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's good.
So like when he was here, and he was telling me about the school, and I was like, oh, that's nice. That's interesting. And then the next question I asked him was like, oh, so if I want to apply, what do I do? Like, what documents
Yeah.
do I need? And that was the last time I heard from him. that
Like he ignored you completely.
was the last time I heard from him. And then I'm
Oh,
not one who will come and say, oh, Charlie, what's up? No, 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 no. So when my friend was like, oh, apply for this, and the first thing she told me was like, it's free. You don't have to pay a dime, and you don't have anything to lose. So
yeah.
that was motivating enough.
Mm,
So I didn't even consider any other things again. I just
mm,
did.
yeah. You mentioned SOP. What
Yeah.
are the other application materials? Did you submit recommendation letters, resume, those things?
Yeah. So with Erasmus Mundus programs, it also varies. For some programs, you need two academic recommendations. For others,
Okay.
you need one academic and one professional. And then
Mm,
for some, you do not need any recommendations. And for
okay.
some, you need just one recommendation. So for
Mm,
the first program, I needed two recommendations. At least one had to be academic. But then I went back to University of Ghana, good student. I showed them my grades and everything. Oh, we will do it for you. We'll do it for you. Never happened. So I think one of the reasons why I was on the waiting list was because I used two professional references, which they didn't meet the criteria. So I used two professional references for the first program. I think that contributed to the waiting list. However, with the program that I was on, because the priority was given to people who had at least 1 year professional experience, and you needed only one professional reference. So that
oh,
was
okay.
very, very easy for me.
Wow.
I needed
Mm,
just one. I think that's what saved me, because if they needed academic, I don't know what I would have done. Trust me,
wow.
bro.
Mm,
It's like after I got back into like the academic space, that's when I realized a lot of mistakes that I did when I was in the undergraduate. If I knew that I wanted to further my education. But then
yeah.
the professional reference was what saved me. So you need the professional, you need either professional or academic recommendations. Then you need your
Mm,
transcript, you need your certificate, your statement of purpose. For some programs, you need your high school certificates,
okay.
but for others, you do not need. And then you also need your resume, or here we call it the Europass CV. So the European Union has a website which gives you the opportunity to format your CV. They call it the Europass CV format, and then you put your CV in that format. And then what
Mm,
did I miss? Your statement of purpose. Yeah, I think that is all.
mm.
Yeah,
So you personally, I know you were doing something related to social work.
yeah.
Is that what made you stand out?
Yeah. So the thing with Erasmus is that if your master's course is not linked with your undergraduate, it's very difficult to get in,
Mm,
because if, for instance, they have someone with a lot of relevant social work experience
yeah.
and someone who even has that grade but has political science, they are definitely going to pick the person with social work, because it's really
Yeah.
really specialized. So
Mm,
yeah, so that was part. And also with my national service also helped, because I did my national service with the Ghana Red Cross Society. So that also factored in the welfare space, and then it pushed me further.
yeah. I mean, I tell a lot of students to be very careful about switching because sometimes you hear the story of somebody in the US, the person will say, "Oh, I had a master's in this and now I'm doing this." Like me personally, right? I came to the US to do masters in economics, and then because I was already in the US, I was able to do another masters in IT. I didn't have any background in IT, but because I was already in the country, I was able to do that. If you are outside the country and you want to do those things, it is not always easy like that. So if you want to switch, you have to be very careful, especially when it comes to funding, because yeah, they are more likely to give you somebody with enough courses, right, background in the
Yeah.
field than you. So yeah, that was a good point. Okay, so you got your visa, everything. Tell me about the first 3 days in the UK.
Okay, so the first thing is the cold. It hits you like very very cold. So like when I think when it was getting when I was getting ready to leave, because like I was living with my parents at home, and then like I was growing up, I was getting to my late 20s. Like when you're getting to your late 20s, I started making my small points. I was like, oh, I need to now live on my own, because all this while
It's very
every
deep.
time you're home, no privacy, nothing. So within that transition period, I was actually excited to be on my own.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was actually excited to be on my own. So like once I entered the system, I was like, this is your time now. Get to understand how it feels like to be on your own. And then the good thing was that because we're recovering from COVID, there was pre-departure arrangements for you at the university. The university comes to you, and University of Lincoln is like 2.5 hours away from London. The university comes for you right from Heathrow with a taxi, takes you to, and we had to quarantine for like 14 days, takes you to like one of their best housing facilities. and they have like beddings, utensils, like everything for you.
Yeah.
So like that, those are like first 2 3 days, like it was very nice because like
Mm.
I had everything for me, big kitchen, and their facilities. I was like, wow, am I in a hotel?
Did you pay for those
Because it
things?
was nice. It was nice.
Did
It
you pay
was
for those
very very
things?
interesting. Yeah.
Did you pay for those things or the school provided them to you
No,
for
the school
free?
provided all those things for you. The school
Oh, okay.
provided all those things, right from the airport straight to your accommodation, the food, and all those things. Like they were all
Mm.
provided for you by the school. That was
Mm.
one benefit that COVID gave during that time.
Yeah. Oh. And when you started school, what was a typical day like for you?
Oh, when I started school, because I had been out of academia for like
Yeah.
3 years, like I had to relearn a lot of things. And
Mm.
for instance, when I was in the University of Ghana, we were not writing academic papers. We study most of the time. You cram, go to the examination hall, do multiple choice, write maybe 4 page essay with no references, and you just submit it and you say, hey, yeah, I'm the shark, I've done well. But then you come here and it's a whole different learning model.
Yeah.
My first month in the class, I was just sitting down. I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand anything. But then the good thing was that because University of Lincoln, it's in England. They speak English. They have a lot of library resources. So, and then the library was like 5 minutes away from my accommodation. So that really helped me. So once I was done with classes, I just went back to the library, accessed the library resources, had to relearn, unlearn and relearn a lot of things. I
Yeah.
sat down, learned how to rewrite academically, backing my claims with references and all those things. And then by the end of the first semester, I think I was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I spoke with Abdul, who is at Science Po on a Mastercard scholarship. And
Okay.
he was telling me that when he wakes up in the morning, he'll be feeling cold and weak, not wanting to go out. Did you feel like that? I know you mentioned feeling cold, but did you feel like weak and not interested in anything, that kind of feeling?
Not necessarily, but I think
Mm,
I understand where he's coming from. You see, when you are
yeah.
inside, sometimes you feel like you are in your home country. You feel like you're in Ghana. But once you go out and the breeze hits you, that's when you realize that, I'm in someone's land. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So for me,
Yeah.
it wasn't really about the weather. The only thing I was missing was like buying food from the roadside and all those things. Because in Ghana, I hardly went to the kitchen because when I'm hungry, I just the way I am, like I'm just wearing the shirt, I just walk out. I was living in Labadi, so food was easily accessible. So like
Yeah.
the way I'm in this jacket, I just walk out, get anything I need. But here, if I want to go out, I just can't go like this. I have to take my jacket, wear my shoes. That's the annoying thing for me. But apart from
Yeah.
that, I think I was okay. I think it was because of my mindset, because I was like, at least I needed to live, experience
Yeah.
life on my own and understand certain things for myself. So that was motivating enough.
Mm. Did you cook while you were a student?
Bro.
Or you
So
managed something? You
when I was
tried
in
something?
Ghana, when I say this, people think I'm telling like when I was in Ghana, I hadn't even touched raw fish or raw chicken before. Never, ever. Because I don't know if you know Labadi around the trade fair area. Like food is
Yeah.
everywhere. Food is
Mm.
everywhere. So like for me to stand 2 hours, 3 hours to cook, no, 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 no. But then when I came on the program, you have no option. But on my program, during my time, we had two other guys from Africa, and then I had another guy from Bangladesh, and they really liked cooking. And Bangladesh is Asian food; it's closer to African food.
Yeah.
So we used to combine a lot of resources. And then during that time, they used to do a lot of the cooking. But then for
Mm.
my final semester, I had to go to Poland because my research supervisor was in Poland. So I was in Poland. So with them, I had no option. I had
Wow.
no option. So go to YouTube, go and watch Sweet Ajele. Okay, do this yourself, do this yourself. So I had no
Wow.
option. Yeah. I can say sometimes it doesn't taste good, but I cooked it, I eat it.
Shall I meet you?
Yeah.
Which means that the schools you went to, you didn't meet Ghanaians, right?
Um, in the UK, I met a few Ghanaians and then a lot
Mm,
of Nigerians. But
okay.
then in Denmark too, I met a few Ghanaians. But now it's not a whole lot. It's just a few because in Portugal too, my friend was already there, so I met Ghanaians. But in Poland, I didn't meet any Ghanaians,
Mm,
and in
yeah.
France too, I didn't meet any Ghanaians. So
I
usually,
see.
how it works is that your cohorts are the people you relate with the most. Yeah,
Mm,
it's your cohort because in Denmark they speak Danish, and then although almost everybody understands English, most of them like to speak Danish. But your cohort is an international community, so everyone has to speak English, and they are the people you bond with most of the time.
mm. Which means
Yeah,
that in 2021 you were the only Ghanaian who was selected, right?
only Ghanaian. We were five from Africa, one Ghanaian, one Malawian, one
Mm.
Burundian, one Ugandan, and me. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Charlie. It means you're a tough guy.
Oh, not really.
You're a tough guy.
Oh no. You see,
Yeah,
for
academically tough.
for my study abroad scholarship, I think like I see it like God's intervention because
Mm.
like I was trying so hard to get away from it, but then it kept coming to me, so I had to grab it. Yeah,
I see. Yeah. When I spoke with Abdul, he said with Mastercard scholarship, you are still allowed to work off campus, like on campus, off campus, whatever. But the point is, you're allowed to work. What about the kind of scholarship you got? Did it permit you to work? In the country because the scholarship covers everything, right? But then,
yeah,
are you still allowed to work?
yeah. It covers everything. You're allowed to work so far as it doesn't impact your studies. For instance, so far as your visa allows you to work, you
Mm,
can work. For instance, in the UK, I went with a short-term study visa, a short-term visa because it was a visitor's visa, and with the
mm,
visitor's visa, you are not allowed to work. However, some of my friends they came with the student visa, although it was really really short for 3 months, and
mm,
so within that time you're allowed to work. But because in my program we keep moving from one country to the other,
yeah.
most jobs they are hesitant to take you because they cannot
Yeah.
train you and then within the next month you leave. So in the
Yeah.
UK, I quite remember my friend, he tried to work, but then when they realized I was for a short period of time, he didn't have the opportunity.
Uh,
But with Denmark, we are allowed to work, and because the residence permit is for 2 years, you're allowed to work
mm,
20 hours per week. You're allowed to work 20 hours per week, and then during the summer, that is from June, July, and August, you can work
mm.
unlimited.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, during the summer school is on vacation. So when we came, because he wanted to work in UK and he wasn't able to. Before coming to Denmark, we made a lot of research, but then we found out that all the cohorts, none of them had worked. None of them. They
Okay.
tried to work, but none of them had worked. But once
Wow.
we got here and we knew we wanted to work at least to supplement our expenses, we started looking aggressively. But first, you have to get a bank account, and it was hell. You had to do a lot of things. But then once we got that bank account, we started looking aggressively. And then our first job was in a hotel where we were laying beds. And the crazy thing is, you work for 6 hours and they pay you for 2 hours because in the hotel they pay by room. They pay
Ah.
by oh, it was crazy. And after some time,
Wow.
we're like, no, they are using us. And if you don't take it, it's going to impact your studies. So we stopped.
Yeah.
And then we started
Mm,
working into the restaurants, and then we started working as dishwashers. And then in Denmark, like the minimum wage is at least 12 euros per hour, but then the taxes really, really high.
mm,
But then
mm,
it was okay, especially for the summer when school was not in session. So for that 3 months, you can go anywhere you want to go, but you have to remain within you can't go out of the European space for like I think for more than 1 month or 2 months. So if in case
mm,
you go back to Africa, I think your stipend it delays, but it will come back, it will delay. So some
mm,
people, my friend for Burundi, I think he went back home, My friend, is it South Africa? Did he go back? No, he didn't go back. So Burundi went back home. So I think his money delayed a little bit, but he still got it. And then by
Mm.
the other ones in Europe, they were on vacation, chilling. But then me and my friend from Uganda, we came back to Denmark. And we came to work.
Yeah. Which means
Yeah.
you never traveled to Ghana, right?
No, I've not been to Ghana since I left.
Wow. Do you
Yeah.
miss home?
Not necessarily because I think it's because of the mindset. Because when I was leaving, I told myself that I've stayed in Ghana for like 28 years. So this is the time for me to see what is out there because I know I'll definitely come back.
Mm.
So now is the time to be on
Be a
your
man.
own.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Although
Mm.
I was already hustling, like this is another level. It's another level. Like right now in
Yeah.
Denmark, I don't know anybody in Denmark apart from the people that I work with in the restaurants. And people that work in the restaurant are not necessarily your friends, let's say
Yeah.
acquaintances. Maybe you
Yeah.
get to know some of them. Yes, they can be your friends, but then there's always this cultural barrier. You know how you're going to relate to someone from Africa is definitely
Yeah. Mm.
different from how you're going to relate to someone. But I stayed in Poland for 4 months alone. I walk into the mall, I'm the only black man there. Yeah. I
I
sit
don't
at
easy.
McDonald's and people they'll be passing, they'll be watching you as if you're a ghost. But then it's because in my mind I'm like, you're here for a reason. Just do what you have to
Yeah.
do and then get out. So I can't say I miss home, but I miss the food.
Mm. Yeah. But
The food is the
uh,
number one. Yeah.
yeah, but were you at any point in time treated badly because of your race, right?
Oh yeah. Especially like the first place that happened was in the UK. It was
Mm.
crazy. Oh,
Wow.
I think now I've even trimmed my hair. When I came, my hair was bushy, my beard was bushy. So I think we went to there's a one, okay, I don't want to mention their name. Maybe people will take it as bad advertisement. So we went to this big supermarket in the UK, and then the guys in my class, they were like, oh, today's Friday, they want to relax and chill and play some board games. So they
Yeah.
were like, oh, they are going to buy some drinks, and I was like, oh, okay, then let's all go. Mind you, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So we went and then they bought their drinks, their beers, and then they were checking out. So I was just helping them. I was pushing the cart, and then we got to the teller, and then and in UK, if they suspect that you're underage, they have to ask you for your ID to verify
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you are overage to get those drinks.
Mm.
Funny enough, like some of my classmates were younger than me, and they were all there. We were pushing the chat with all my beard and everything. This woman ignored all of them and said, "Where's my ID? Where is my ID? That shows that I can buy this beer." And I was like, are you
Uh,
serious? I was just pushing the cart for them. I don't drink. It is for them. And they were like, it is for them. And they were showing her ID. They were like, no, she doesn't want to, she wants to see mine. And I was like, are you serious? And I started laughing. And I was like, okay. I took my phone and I took my ID. And I was like, this is it. She was like, no. She wants to see the physical one. And I'm like,
man.
are you serious? And then my friends, they got pissed because I think that's the first time they were realizing something like that. Because when you say it, they are not going to understand it unless they see it or they witness it. And even that, still, they don't feel it like the way you feel it. And then
Yeah.
this woman started making noise, not listening to anybody. And they were like, ah. So she went to call her manager. Her manager was 19 years, I'm 28 years. And we're standing there. And you're telling me I don't meet the criteria. It was crazy. And I
Yeah.
was just laughing because I was like, we see this in the movie, so this is it. Yeah, so they did that. I was like, you can't break me. I know the reason why I came here, so that was it. So that was the
Yeah.
first time. So the other ones, like when I've like people have approached me, like they see me like, hey, do you sell weed? Can I have some weed? Like no more than yes. I was sitting at the bus stop. I was sitting at the bus stop. For this one, I cannot mention the country because it will be like I'm tarnishing their image. I was sitting at the bus stop waiting for my bus. Like I just scared,
Ah.
Charlie, do you have some weed? I need to buy.
Oh.
I'm
White
like,
guy.
no. Come again.
White guy.
Yes, because
Light
I'm a
European.
black guy. Yeah, yeah, it has happened more than 3 times.
Oh, that's strange.
And one was even in broad daylight.
Huh. So they
Yeah,
think you should carry. Wow, that doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
yeah, exactly.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Yeah,
When I interviewed, other people, I think MasterCard and then DAAD scholarships don't
yeah.
require you to go back to your home country after your studies. What about Erasmus Mundus? Are you supposed to go back, like, to serve your country before you do whatever you want to do with your life?
Okay. So with Erasmus Mundus, I used to joke with this about my friends. Like once you're done with the program, they leave you.
They
Once
leave
you're
you.
done with the
Oh, okay.
program, yeah, you have to figure out what you have to do, and it
Mm,
depends a lot on like the visa rules.
mm,
Fortunately for me, Denmark. By the time I was graduating, Denmark had changed their post-study visa rules. Once you
mm,
complete your education, automatically you'll be given 3 years to find a job or do whatever you have to do in Denmark. Initially at first, you would have to show at least 14,000 euros in your account, and then you'd be granted an extension of 2 years. But then
mm,
they changed it. You do not need to show that proof. And
mm,
then once you just have to put in the application, it is going to be approved. So I was
mm,
fortunate enough because at first I was thinking, what do I do? But then they changed the rules. So I was like, okay, then let me just stay and then see my next alternative. So after I completed, I just applied and then they accepted it. And then because I was already working, I already had that working experience, I just went back and then they gave me the opportunity. But some other people are finding it difficult because Denmark is a well-developed country, so
mm,
although there's a language barrier, finding work is not that difficult. You can manage with dishwashing or working in what do you say, working in a hotel. You can manage, but with other countries who don't even have minimum wage,
mm,
for instance, I had a friend who was in Portugal and in 4 months, 6 months, she still wasn't having work because there's a language barrier and the what do you say, the development is not yet at the peak like how Denmark or the other Scandinavian countries are. So it
mm,
depends on the country that you find yourself, especially your coordinating institution. If
mm.
your country is not that strong economically, and
Yeah,
in Europe, apart from the UK, I don't think other English is the official language of any other country. So there's a
yeah,
language barrier. Yeah.
mm,
So that plays a role too as well.
yeah. I have seen that you've created a lot of content about the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. Does that
Yeah.
mean it is a scholarship that you highly recommend?
110%. A hundred
I
and
see.
ten percent.
But
See,
it
I
seems hard, right? It looks like it's very hard to get. So, you know,
no, like I'm going to quote you now. Nothing
mm,
is easy. You have to put in the work.
yeah,
Nothing is easy. If you think you are going to walk through the park, then please stay home. Because Erasmus, I did some pros and cons. That's when I realized
mm,
that this thing has taught you a lot. You manage your time, you manage your resources. Because if you are bad at that, then you won't survive. You can't miss your visa appointment. You can't miss your
mm,
flight. Nobody's going to book your flight for you. You are going to pay somebody to book your flight for you. How dare you? The person is going to
yeah,
squander your money. You have to book your. Right now, there's no flight that I cannot book. There's no airport I cannot navigate. You don't know
yeah,
anybody. We go to places and you take your map. We went to London. We didn't know anybody. We had to find places ourselves. We have to book accommodation yourself. All those things. It trains you. It gives you skills that you have no idea about,
yeah,
and it helps you navigate life further, because if you are planning to further your education or to do something after that, it gives you a whole different perspective on how to approach issues.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
recommend it 110%.
Mm, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, that's good, especially given the way the U.S. terrain is right now. If you are scared of the U.S., then you can look elsewhere, right?
No,
Yeah,
but the thing is that you see, the people, I think if you are not ready to do the right thing and then work the right way, then that's when you're going to be scared. So, for instance, if I was going to the UK and then I know I'm on a visitor's visa, and then I go in and I'm looking for work, it doesn't make sense. Once I came
yeah.
to Denmark, I knew that I had the authority to work. Like when I'm even working, I feel free. I see the police and I'm greeting them because I'm free. Yes, I
The
know I
police
don't
is
have
your
any issue
friend.
with anybody.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
they say, the police is your friend, so don't be scared of them.
Exactly. Like you see them and you are not scared. You smile with them, you say hello,
Mm,
they say hi. It's like, yeah, once you want to do the right thing, like once you say you've put your mind to this, just make sure that you go the right way. Because I know
mm,
that when I fall into trouble, there's nobody coming to save me. So
yeah,
I have to
that's true.
do what is
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. From everything that you've shared about your own journey, I kind of understand, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, the way it works and all of that.
Yeah.
But then let's say I come to you that, okay, you've gone through it, you got it, and so yes, you can help me. If I come to you, help me, what are the steps that I need to take?
Okay, so I think so when I was done with my program now, I had some time and then I gave myself 1 year to figure out my next move. And then during that time, that is when I started creating content on Erasmus Mundus. I
Mm,
think for some time I have stopped now because a lot of questions, a lot of things to do, and I have to
yeah,
manage a lot of things for myself as
yeah,
well. Yeah. So if like me personally, and you come to me, the first thing I tell you to do is that you go to the Erasmus Mundus catalog. So I create a video. And I realized I was talking too much. So that was one of the reasons why I did the YouTube channel. So I just take all the relevant links and I tell you that I first and foremost look through the catalog,
yeah,
look through like the catalog of courses. You do not, if you like you study social work, you do not necessarily have to see a master's in social work. Or if you studied computer science, you do not necessarily have to see masters in computer science. For computer science, they have about 5 or 6 different courses for computer science, cyber security. You just have to filter it. Once you pick the area, you're going to see a lot of courses. And then once you go to the program page, so every course has its own website. So you go to the program page, explore the page, look at the eligibility criteria. I just tell you to try to familiarize yourself with the program. Once you
mm,
are ready and you have looked at the eligibility criteria, and then I'll tell you that, okay, now what does it say? Because I want you to do it for yourself. I
yeah,
won't come and do it for you. I had somebody tell me that, oh, I'm not feeling well. Can you do the application for me? But the person was on social media posting and tweeting and laughing. I'm
of
like, are you
course.
serious? So once you familiarize yourself with the eligibility criteria, and I'm like, okay, so now do you have the documents? With the CV, the Europass, I also created step by step on how to do the Europass. So I tell you to watch that video. You do the CV. If you don't have your recommendations, I try to let you get your recommendations as soon as possible. Then I have the statement of purpose. I try to let you understand that there's a knowledge gap or there's a research gap. That is what you must seek to answer with your statement of purpose. You don't have to say a lot. Just tell them that you are addressing this gap with the skills
Yeah,
that the program will give you. But I find it that some people find it difficult to understand. And I'm like, even if you don't have the necessary work experience
yeah,
during the course of your studies, just let them understand that you found this gap within the Ghanaian space and you need these
mm,
skills to help you address this gap.
yeah,
So once I make you understand that if I'm really really close with you, I let you bring me the sample and then we go through. But
mm,
even some of the people on the internet, I don't really know them, but it depends on how they approach me through the emails.
yeah.
So if I see that
Time
you're
will be.
really, really serious,
Yeah,
I get the time, I read through it, and then I give you feedback, and then I send it back to you. So once we do the statement of purpose and you have all the documents, and I'm like, okay, now go to the portal, put in your application. If you're having any difficulties, let me know
yeah,
so that we go through it again, and then you put in your application. Yeah.
mm, yeah. And about the applications, they open in November and then the deadline is in January, right?
January, yes. So most
Okay.
applications open in November. Some also open as early as September, and then the deadlines some are in December, and then January. Some are also in March. So it
Mm,
depends. You have to look at the specifics of the program and look at the eligibility, the application deadline. For instance, when you go to my page, I've done a lot of videos on how to look for the eligibility criteria for specific courses. And the thing is that most of them follow the same criteria. So even if I did it for last year, this year is basically going to be the same. But you have to confirm. You have to go to the
yeah.
program page, check the eligibility, see, and then put in your application. Yeah.
Yeah. You've mentioned a lot about your page and the fact that you have a lot of these videos there, which when a student takes those videos can actually do everything on their own. So what is the name of the page? Where can people find you?
Okay, so it's just my name. I'm Abraham Tetteh Teye, but my
Okay.
videos, my YouTube page is Tetteh Teye,
Okay.
Tetteye. Once you click on it, you are going to see a lot on Erasmus Mundus scholarships.
Mm.
And if you message me, sometimes I reply, sometimes I don't reply. For that one, I'll be honest, because I knew someone throwing shit at me. It was like, you know the funny thing when he messaged me. The next day he sent a follow up. The next day he sent another follow up, and I'm like, bro, you think
Take
I'm
it
always
easy.
with my phone replying messages, not doing anything? Don't do that. And then I was like, because you didn't reply, I did the research on my own, and now I've been able to do it. And me that's like he was throwing a shit at me. I'm like, even good for you. You've learned how to do it yourself. You know, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But once you do that, the thing is that most people don't want to put in the work, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because I literally I literally screen record every step by step. So if you go through that step by step, there's no way you're not going to do that. But then maybe they've changed the process. So once they've changed the process and you go through step by step, that even the correspondence that you are going to send me is going to show me that, oh, there's a difference. And I'll be like, okay, then look for the coordinator's email. Let's send this email and tell them that this is the problem you've encountered and how can you navigate the issue. And then, yeah, that's it.
Mm. I have your YouTube and then TikTok that I'll leave in the description. Do you have other pages that you want people to check out?
No, I don't think so
Maybe are
because
you on LinkedIn? Are you on LinkedIn?
yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn name is Abraham Tetteh. That's my full
Okay.
name. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Put that one down as well. Okay. And so finally, do you have any final words or do you want to give shout out to anyone?
One thing I've realized about shout outs that once you mention someone's name and you miss the other one, yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm not part.
so
They
so
will say
I'll
I'm
I'll
not
just
part.
say, yeah, exactly. I remember when I graduated, I graduated, I did a song for my class. And I was mentioning the names of people in the class, and I missed some people's names, and they were angry with me at graduation. So all I can say is that if you want to study abroad, be ready to put in the work.
Mm,
For instance, okay, if you don't have the necessary resources, for instance, I've been researching a lot on schools in the US, and I realized that, like you say, um, pay for your application so that it stands you stand out, because if everyone is doing the free one, how can you stand out when they're
yeah.
accepting applications and all those things? Okay, we have some people who genuinely don't have the necessary resources. When I came from Erasmus Mundus, I realized that some people even had to borrow money to do the first travel installment and had to pay back and all those things. And I realized that some people genuinely want to do things that they do not want to do. But the thing with Erasmus is that it levels the
Playing
field for
field.
you. No one
Mm,
pays any application. Everybody's considered on merit. No governmental interference. No bureaucracies. You go through the process just as everyone. So that is an opportunity for you to explore if you cannot explore the US scheme.
mm,
And once you have the opportunity, it's going to open your mind to endless possibilities.
yeah. Yeah, you just talked about your music. I just wanna quickly ask about it. So you how many music have you created so far?
Music, is a
Yeah.
lot. 30, I have
It's a
30
lot.
plus songs.
So are you popular in terms of, being a musician? Like, are you well known or you just haven't really taken it that serious?
No, not, I can't say well known because I was doing, I say I was or I am. I don't know what I am now. I was doing urban
You are
gospel.
you.
I was doing, you see that this what do you call it? Jack of all trades, master of none. Sometimes I feel I'm like
Yeah.
that person. So I
Mm.
was doing urban gospel music, and it wasn't really that big. I think it's just
Is it the
recently.
market? Is it
Yeah, it's
because
the
of the
market and
market?
the content,
Mm,
because there's nothing explicit. We talk about God, we talk about faith,
mm,
and when it comes to content, it depends on what you sell for people. And with gospel, if you're not that big, a lot you can have a good song and people would not
yeah.
listen. Because I realize that some of the songs that I have, if it was done by someone bigger, would have gotten the necessary recognition. But
Wow.
it's not really about
Mm,
the recognition for me. It's like a form of therapy for me, and it's like an agreement that I had with God that I have to do something for Him.
mm.
So with the songs, I have like 2 albums. Before I
Wow.
left Ghana, I released
Hey.
another album. Yeah, I released
Wow.
another album, and yeah.
Hey.
Uh,
You're
what would I say? No,
talented.
I wouldn't say I'm popular. I wouldn't say I'm really popular. The thing with me is that in every field that I find myself in, I don't know. The school has been in me, but I was running away from it. I always try to find a gap and fill in that gap. So
Mm,
So when I
wow.
started doing the music, I realized that like urban gospel artists were not getting the necessary like recognition and then the space that they needed. That's when I started the blog and I started writing about them, started producing and promoting their music, started doing uploads for them for people to access their music and stuff like that. But some people even knew me more as a blogger than an artist. And then they go
Oh
to a show
wow.
and then they see me on the stage like, but what are you doing? Yeah, so it balances. I wouldn't say I'm
Ah.
popular, but I think I'm content. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Looks like you have a lot in your tank. Wow, that's amazing. But I've really enjoyed this. I've learned a lot. Now I think all the big scholarships have been covered, so I'm very excited about it. So thank you very much, and good luck to
Thank
you.
you for having me. Thank you for having me.